With the recently announced Steam Deck coming out later this year, everyone has been talking a lot about how the Steam Deck is going to be just destroying what Nintendo is doing with their OLED Switch coming out later this fall. But I wanted to look at it at a different side. Today on the show, I want to talk about how the Steam Deck could become the Xbox Game Pass powerhouse. We're going to talk about that right now. Folks, welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. Good to see you and good to have you here for another episode. Today, I want to talk about the Steam Deck. And no, I don't want to talk about how it is going to rival that of Nintendo. Nintendo's on Nintendo Island. They're doing their own thing. They don't give a shit about what anybody else is doing, even though they probably should. But the Steam Deck is extremely exciting. It's very, very interesting. It's very powerful for being a handheld PC, all at your fingertips, even with the little touchpad stuff. It's very, very exciting. Starting from $399 for a 64 gigabyte Steam Deck, all the way up to $649 for the 512 gigabit station. Micro SDs, SSDs, there's RAM in there. I'm not a PC spec person, nor do I know different chips. But with a 60 hertz handheld machine that's gonna output 1080 by 800, so like 720p, which is still very good for a handheld at like a 7-inch screen. It got me so excited because it is all on PC platform. It allows players the freedom to be able to kind of just have their library, their PC, their Valve, their Steam library all at their fingertips. And really looking at Game Pass thrown on there, the Microsoft Store, and having your entire Game Pass library in a handheld. For so many years, players have looked at the PlayStation Vita. We've had our 3DS, the 2DS for our handhelds. And for so long, players have been looking at Xbox and Microsoft and asking and wondering over those years, would we ever get that Xbox handheld console on the go? And we never did. And I feel like today, this is when Xbox and Phil Spencer and team have gotta be putting their hands together in just excitement that Valve is doing this, because it allows for Xbox and specifically Game Pass to get onto an even broader market and be able to truly penetrate the PC market on a new level. Having a handheld device with Game Pass on there, having that app right there, or just being able to go to the Microsoft Store because it's all going to be on Linux, and then you could just put on Windows if you wanted to onto your handheld. More freedom for players, expanding their library, accessing their existing library, and I'm talking specifically with all of those Game Pass titles. It's another notch for Xbox in terms of a win that I don't know if enough fans are actually looking at this, and fans like myself of Xbox and of Game Pass are looking closely enough right now, because there's a ton of excitement just around the actual hardware, which is great in itself. But I'm excited because this is a massive win for Xbox and for Game Pass players to have one more means to be able to play wherever they want. Right now, Xbox has been doing a great job of trying to promote, the ability to play their xCloud titles on Android, now with the ability to play it on iOS. That's been really great. Game Pass on your iPhone has been fun. It's still in beta, but when you can turn around now and be able to say, if you're already interested in dabbling into the PC side of things, if you wanted more of a handheld experience, but you wish you could play more Game Pass titles with a little bit more power behind it, the Steam Deck is really going to be interesting to see how much it overtakes of the market and how much more it blows up Game Pass subscriptions and gets more people into Microsoft's ecosystem. I don't feel like, and this is just my first take and opinion, everybody, is that I don't feel that the Steam Deck is going to be a niche product for PC players in the PC market. I think it's going to get a lot more mainstream attention, like it already is garnering right now since its reveal and announcement. I think that players across countries are going to be looking at the Steam Deck as another way of being able to play so many other existing titles. But if you can splash Game Pass on there, and if Xbox can talk with Valve a little bit and be able to showcase that you can play everywhere, including your phones, your consoles, or on a Stream Deck, it's going to be very, very interesting for Xbox to see how much more of the market share they can grab. And I think that with the conversations around Nintendo and their OLED system kind of being not what anybody really wanted, but weren't overly surprised that it was a Nintendo move, I think it just further puts Nintendo on its own island, doing their own thing, and that's okay. It's not what fans are wanting from a Nintendo console, but it's Nintendo being Nintendo, and we kind of have to live with it. The other thing that I will say about this is how over time, like later this year, Valve is going to be releasing their docking station similar to that of a Switch, where I can just dock my Steam Deck and I can actually just turn around and be able to boot it up live on my PC, like through my monitor, mouse and keyboard, presumably being able to add in like my Xbox controller wirelessly via Bluetooth because it has that built in there. So it had me thinking about how, well, for $399, I could get a Series S if I really wanted to be able to put that in the other room. But if you are somebody that wants to have more flexibility on the go and doesn't feel like they can get enough out of their phone, being able to play that way, Steam Deck is going to be very interesting, because if I can get that and a dock, and I've got the mobility of just my Xbox library alone, not to mention everything that you probably already have on PC, I think it's going to be really cool to be able to dock that thing and boot up Game Pass, and I can just go and pick up my Xbox controller and it's seamless and it's running really well, because I would just need to be able to plug it in to my big screen TV and off I go, or be able to plug it in and I have now got kind of my PC, my mobile PC on the go. And that's going to be attractive for a lot of different players, I think, being able to have that flexibility. People that can't necessarily jump into full PC market and want to be able to do that and drop $1,000 on a PC, but they want to be able to play more titles, some PC games, maybe be able to emulate some stuff on there. That open source and that open door really makes it interesting for so many more players to be able to get into an ecosystem, whether it is just be able to go on their Steam library, or they want to be able to experience Game Pass and all of the games that are on there. It's an easier pill to swallow too, if for families, if they are looking at the budget and saying, well, little Johnny Jimmy wants to be able to get a handheld. He's looking at the Switch. That's going to cost you almost $500 or more by the time you're all said and done, with premium prices on Nintendo titles. Or you can go over and have this massive library, get Game Pass for free basically anywhere you look for a month, and you've got a handheld, and if you got a monitor, boom, plug it in and go. It's creating more accessibility, allowing more players to play wherever they want, however they want. I think that is the biggest win when it comes to the Steam Deck. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that Xbox is going to be able to really run with the Steam Deck? And do you think it's going to open the doors even further for a lot more players this winter when they release the Steam Deck? Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always, thank you all for assembling with us. See you on the next episode.